Hey, I'm your host, Jen Wheeler, and this is the Healthy Her podcast. I'm a teacher, author, and foodie who went from being addicted to sugar, skipping meals, and struggling to get in control of my eating, to someone who is 10 kilos down, eats all the yummy foods without restriction, and is finally in control of my hunger. I'm obsessed with helping other health-conscious women ditch the confusion and overwhelm so they can cultivate healthy eating habits and truly thrive. The Healthy Her podcast was created to give you real talk about healthy eating, as well as easy, actionable tips that fit seamlessly into your busy lifestyle. I'm not just your host. Think of me as your healthy eating hype gal, your personal cheerleader as we chat all things healthy eating, weight loss, and mindset mastery, so you can become the healthiest, happiest version of you. So if you're ready to ditch the guilt, reclaim your confidence, and unlock the very best version of you, then you're in the right place. So let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Healthy Her podcast. Before we jump into today's episode, I just want to remind you that you can still register for my free masterclass, The Untold Secrets to Healthy Eating and Weight Loss. The link is down below, or you can also grab the link from my Instagram. And in that masterclass, I'm going to let you know exactly why what you have been doing previously with your weight loss effort hasn't worked, and exactly what you need to do in order to start getting results. Like, I hold nothing back. I share everything with you because I truly believe that women need to understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. So if you haven't already, don't forget to register for my free masterclass, because there is so much information in there, so many aha moments, and you'll be able to really understand why what you've been doing hasn't worked, and a really clear path forward on how you can start achieving healthy eating and weight loss success as a busy woman. So let's jump into today's episode. This episode has been highly requested because I know that there are a lot of women in our Healthy Her community that have some big goals, that perhaps have always had a dream on their heart or something that they've wanted to work on, whether that's starting a business, writing a book, changing jobs, like going to university, signing up for a TAFE course, So this episode has been asked for repeatedly, like I said, because I know that there's lots of you out there that do have big goals and dreams. So I hope that by sharing my story with you, that it gives you a little bit of inspiration, some hope, and also lets you know that you're never stuck and that you can completely change your life with literally just a few small decisions and slowly working towards it every single day. So today's episode is all about my meal prep journey. It's all about how I started Real Nourish, which, if you don't know, Real Nourish is my do-it-yourself meal prep mix brand. I make meal prep mixes for busy, time poor women. That is the main goal of the business. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to share with you my journey, like how it started, some of the highs and lows. And like I said, my hope is that it inspires you, because I know something for myself is that for the longest time, like, women can feel stuck. We can feel stuck in a box. And whether that's the box of motherhood or a particular job role or in a relationship, and we just get stuck in these boxes that we feel like, well, that's the person that I am now and I just can't get out of it. So I hope that today's episode just reminds you that you're never stuck. You can change your life and do different things and go down a different pathway that perhaps wasn't your first choice, or that you've changed your mind or you want to do something different, and that it is a totally okay thing to do. All right, let's start from the beginning of my meal prep journey and my Real Nourish journey. So going back to the beginning, and I should just mention too, if you want to find out a little bit more about my journey and who I am and where I've come from and what I do and all those kind of things, you can go back to, I think it's like the first or second episode of the podcast, and it's all about my Healthy Her story. So if you want to find out a bit more, you can go back to that. So my meal prep journey, this is going way back. So basically, when I was trying to lose weight, I started an Instagram account because I didn't really want people to know. Weight loss for me was a personal journey, but I wanted to find other women that I could connect with that were working on losing weight and becoming the best versions of themselves. And I just wanted to find some people that I could follow. So I started an Instagram account and I started following different women on Instagram. And I started by posting my meal preps. So every Sunday, religiously for months, I set aside some time every single Sunday and I did meal prep Sunday. And even with no followers, little community, it wasn't about the likes and the follows and all those kind of things. I would post and share like literally the whole process on my stories of this is what I'm cooking, showing my ingredients step by step of me, like literally making this recipe for my meal prep from scratch on my Instagram stories. And then I would post the recipe every single Sunday and share it with the handful of women that I'd connected with on social media that were working on their health and wellness as well. And then basically from that, with my meal prep, I was starting to get messages because I had my account set to private, like it wasn't public. And these women that I'd connected with were sending me these messages and they're like, Jen, these meal preps are amazing. Like I just made your meal prep breakfast or your oats or your easy chicken lunch and it's amazing. And you need to be sharing these things with more people. And I was like, nah, like it's not me. I'm not doing that. Like I'll just keep sharing. And like I said, week after week, I would get on my stories and I would share these recipes that I was making for my meal prep, my breakfast, my lunch, my snacks, all high protein, low calorie, easy, quick, delicious. And like I said, it just kept building and it was like, you need to go public and share this stuff with people. And so as we do, as women, we have the imposter syndrome, we have the self-doubt. And I sat there and I was like, oh, no, I don't know about that. And like being a woman, I'm thinking, if I go like public on Instagram, there's going to be like weirdos messaging me and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I'm not really sure of this. Sat on it for months, like actual months. And then I just went, you know what? Like what I'm doing by sharing these meal preps with other busy women is helping them. And that's why I share it. So I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? So I flicked the switch, made my Instagram profile public, and that's literally how it grew from there. So it all really started with meal prep and meal prep recipes. Now, what I found is once I'd gotten into that habit of meal prepping regularly on a Sunday, there was weeks where I was, you know what it's like you just have more on your plate. You're more busy, you have more stuff to do. And I was just like, I just need something. Like I need some help. Like I can't make all this stuff from scratch. Even though the recipes were super quick and easy and all those things, there were certain weekends where I was like, I just don't have the time today. And so I went to the supermarket and the grocery store and I had a look around and I'm like, I'll just get something. And so I headed down the cake aisle and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, there'll be like a meal prep, like a thing I can prep, right? That I can make fresh and have at home. And I walk down the aisle and there's cakes and muffins and like slices and pancakes and a few kind of things, but they were all just snacky type things. Like I wanted a breakfast or a lunch or something that I could actually, like a proper meal that I could meal prep. And then I went to the freezer section. I was like, okay, there's frozen meals. And I was like, I don't really want a frozen meal. Like I want something that I can keep at home. I can prep it whenever I want. I'm like, nope. Okay. So there's nothing in the freezer section. And then I sort of went home and felt a bit disheartened about everything. And then I sort of went, okay, well, I looked online and it's like, you have to buy like a full meal kit, with like 30 meals and 10 dinners. And I'm like, I don't want that. Like, I just want something that as a busy woman is going to help make meal prepping easier for me. It's going to save me time. It's going to be there whenever I need it. It's going to tick all my boxes. It's going to be high protein, good calories, easy to make. My kids would eat it if I needed to. Like it had to tick all of those things. And I was like, why don't I just make something? Why don't I just create my own product? Like, why do I just not do this myself? And that is literally how the Real Nourish do-it-yourself high protein meal prep mixes got started. That was it. It was that aha moment, that epiphany where I was like, I need to do this myself. Like I had a really, really strong calling, start this business and to create these meal prep mixes for busy women myself. And so just on that, if you have calling to do something and it's really strong and you try and tell that voice in your head to be quiet or to shut up or don't worry about it and it keeps coming up, you are meant to do that thing. You are meant to do that thing if it keeps coming up, because it's been put on your heart for a reason. And so in whatever way you do, you need to pursue it, because if you don't, it is something that you'll always regret. It is something that you'll always think, oh, I always wanted to go to university and study to be a nurse. Like if that's something that you've always wanted to do and you keep putting it off, and it's something that later on in your life you will regret. If you keep getting that little knock on the shoulder, that tap on the door, that part of your brain that's like, I really need to write this book, or I need to do this thing, go and do the thing. Because like I said, you may not regret it now, but when you're older and later in life, you will have regrets that you didn't go after your dreams and pursue that thing that you were super passionate about. So, Real Nourish. So I just decided, I'm going to start this business. Obviously, I went through all of the self-doubt, all of the imposter syndrome, all of the fear. Who am I to do this? I don't know anything about this. How am I going to do this? How am I going to afford to do this? I don't really have any money to pay for this stuff. And I sat on it, and I eventually spoke to, family and friends, and, I eventually kind of just, I think over a period of a few months, I kind of just eventually worked out to put the fear aside and to go, well, you know what, what's the worst that can happen? The worst thing that can happen is it doesn't work. But you know what? For me, it's that whole thing that I knew I needed to do this. And if I didn't do it, that I would regret it later on. So I was thinking, okay, well, what do I want to create? And I thought, all of you are loving these meal prep recipes, right? So I'm like, okay, well, why don't I just take one of my recipes and turn it into a dry mix? So create a shelf-stable meal prep mix recipe, just like you would make on a Sunday with me on my Instagram, and put it in a bag so that women could keep it in their pantries. You didn't need a fridge. It wasn't a ready-made meal. It wasn't a dinner kit. It wasn't a muffin mix. It was a dry pantry staple mix that you could keep in your cupboard and that you could actually meal prep your breakfast out of it whenever you needed. And that's how it got started. I would literally do sampling and testing out the recipes and things like that at home while I was juggling kids and school drop-offs and young kids and work and all of these other things. I would test some samples, and then the next day it might have been an email. It was literally just me putting one foot in front of the other every single day until finally we had this product, this high protein pancake bake, and that's the thing too, everything I created and have created so far for Real Nourish, I have got you in mind. I know you're busy. I know you're time poor, and I know what women want and need. And so that's how the Real Nourish pancake tray bake was born, because women want to eat high protein breakfasts. We enjoy eating protein pancakes, but we don't have time to stand over the stove and flip pancakes. Throw a mix in the bowl, add some water, add some fruit, some raspberry and white chocolate, whatever your favorite combination is, pop it in the oven and just go about all the other million things that we need to do in our day. And so that's why the pancake bake was created. So every Real Nourish product has a reason behind it. And, like I said, it's always to make life easier for you, to save you time, to make eating healthy easier, to help you hit your protein goals, to help you hit your health goals so you don't have to worry about if something's too high in calories or low in calories. All of that stuff has been done for you in the Real Nourish mixes. And one of the really cool things which I have to share with you is that all of the people that have helped me bring Real Nourish to life are women. They have all been women that for whatever reason have come into my life or have connected with me through Instagram and social media. And it's insane, because I honestly couldn't have done any of this without their support. And I don't know any of these women, none of these women. And the first female that I connected with over on Instagram, she runs a manufacturing company. She said to me, she's like, this stuff is incredible. She's like, Jen, if you ever want to start your own business and make these recipes as mixes or whatever, I can help you. I will support you. I'll make it easy for you. And if any of these beautiful women are listening right now, you know who you are and you helped make my dreams possible. And it's something that I'm super proud of, because the women that have helped me start the Real Nourish business and also helped me grow the business and, continue to create more products to add to the collection, they're all women. They're all women. And I would go to them completely clueless and go, how do I design a package? How do I do this? Or how do I manufacture this? Or how do I get a label? How do I do this stuff? And every single time, me, totally clueless, I would say, Jen, we'll figure it out. Jen, I'll get back to you. Jen, leave it with me for a sec and I will let you know soon how we can move forward. Or when I was freaking out about stock orders or because something hasn't arrived or because are you tired of the endless struggle to eat healthy and nail your meal prep routine? Introducing the Real Nourish Do-It-Yourself Meal Prep Mixes, the ultimate solution for busy women like you. When I went on my own personal health journey, I discovered the many benefits of meal prep, and after much searching, I just couldn't find a meal prep mix that was designed especially for women. So I literally decided to create my own. Trust me, as a busy working mum, meal prep has changed my life. Our mixes are packed with protein to keep you energized and feeling full. Our mixes can be whipped up in under 10 minutes, perfect for your on-the-go lifestyle. Using our award-winning pancake tray bake mix means you can say goodbye to standing over a hot stove, flipping pancakes. Simply add water, toss in your favorite fruits, and bake. If you're ready to revolutionize your meal prep game, you can find my mixes at theactivebod.com or follow us on Instagram at realnourish_. And as a special thank you to our Healthy Her community, we have a discount code. So just enter the code, the Healthy Her, at the checkout. Don't get me wrong. I really think that especially social media makes running a business and especially a product-based e-commerce business, social media makes it look like, especially TikTok, it's all fun and easy. And it's not. It's challenge after challenge after challenge every single day, and you constantly come up against roadblocks. But for me, I've always stuck to my why. And I can honestly tell you that every single order that goes out, every Real Nourish mix that goes out, I get the biggest buzz. And I've been doing this now for a couple of years and I still get the biggest buzz packing up your orders because I know what that meal prep mix is going to do for you and for the woman that it's going to arrive at her door. I know it's going to save her time. I know it's going to make her hectic morning a little bit easier. I know it's going to make eating healthy a bit simpler for her. And honestly, that is always my why. So, when stock hasn't come or if there's an ingredient that we need for the mix or COVID hits or there's something that comes up, or there's an issue with the packaging or whatever it is, that's my why. That's my why because I know that those mixes are making your life that little bit easier. So it literally started from my kitchen bench. Obviously, there's billion little steps that have gone into getting it from my kitchen bench to obviously having to sample the products, to designing the packaging, then getting it delivered. I still remember the day, I've still got photos and videos of when those first mixes have arrived because I've honestly, it's one of the best feelings because most people don't realize, and I didn't either because I hadn't done this before, but it takes a really long time. People see a shelf packaged item, whether that's at the supermarket or something they purchase online, and they just see beautiful package or beautifully designed, and they don't realize some of the mixes can take up to 18 months, sometimes 2 years from idea to the sampling, to designing the packaging, to getting everything absolutely perfect, and then getting the bags filled, getting them shipped. It actually takes a really long time. And that's why people are like, oh, why is there no more products? Or why has nothing come out yet? Or, we want more of this. It takes months. It actually takes a really long time to get the product in your hands. And just on that note too, something else I noticed, in the meal prep space and stuff, a lot of it's targeted at men. All the packaging and stuff is very manly, very gym bro kind of blacks and reds and all of those kind of things. And if you've ever ordered a Real Nourish meal prep mix, either the high protein breakfast crumble or the no flip pancake bake, if you've ever ordered them, packaging is really beautiful. And because I've worked really closely, again, with the most incredible women and the most incredible graphic designers that have helped me bring my vision to life to create some beautiful packaging. And so that when your order gets to you, it's like a little moment of self-care. It's designed for women. It's made for women. And like I said, when I was doing my research and looking into all of this, a lot of the stuff, if you think about it, when you go into if you've ever been into a supplement store, it's all very manly and black and dark and targeted big, bulky men that lift weights and go to the gym and stuff like that. And I really wanted something different for women. Now, I'm putting it out here, so going to manifest this so you can all help me together. The goal is to eventually get the mixes onto supermarket shelves so that you can order them online and that you can also get them from your supermarket. So help me manifest that. That's definitely on one of my lists of things that I want to work on and I want to do. But like I said, just warms my heart that those mixes go out to a busy, time poor woman. But I just want to remind you that, if I question myself so many times throughout this process, and I have multiple times, whether that was starting the Real Nourish business or especially too, starting a podcast. I sat on this for the longest time. I knew I had things to say. I knew I had things that could help women. I knew I had to do it, but we are our own worst enemies and we second guess ourselves so much and we let fear stop us from doing the things we want. We let fear of what other people will think stop us from doing the things that we want. And I went through all of that. I was like, well, who am I to do this? What are my friends going to think? Are they going to think it's stupid? Are you going to think it's silly? And something that I've realized is that no matter what you do in life, someone is going to have an opinion on it. So whether that's a good opinion, whether it's a bad opinion, whether they think that what you're doing is a good idea, a bad idea, there will always be some form of judgment from the people that are around you. So shouldn't you just do what you want anyway and face your fears and push those things aside, push those feelings aside and just go after the things that you want. You are never stuck. And if you want to read more about my journey, I've written a whole chapter in the book, Curiosity Killed the 9 to 5. There is other women in there too that have shared their incredible entrepreneurial journeys, their startup journeys. They are amazing. There is a whole chapter in there about my Real Nourish journey, about how it started. So if you want to find out more, and like I said, if this is something that you're interested in, definitely recommend going and grabbing that book from my website because it will just really lift you up and really there's lots of tips and advice from other startups, other entrepreneurs just like me, stepped out of that box that they got put in and they've just decided to do something different. So if you are looking for some inspiration and some motivation or you're second guessing yourself or you want to start something new, definitely recommend grabbing a copy and having a read of that. I think that's it for me today. I'm sure that I think we can probably unpack this a little bit more. Maybe I can do starting a business, one podcast, or, I can break down the parts of how I've come to evolve and having the 3 different businesses. So the Active Bod, the membership, the Real Nourish mixes, and also the Healthy Her podcast as well. Send me a DM on Instagram if that's something that you'd like me to sort of delve in a bit further. But like I said, if you take anything from this podcast, please know that you are never stuck. I know it can feel like it sometimes, that you're trapped in a job that you hate or a relationship, or you really want to go out and try something new or do something different. Life is too short. Life is too short to do things that you really don't enjoy. So please let that be the one takeaway that you get from this podcast episode, is that you are never stuck. You can still go and do the things that you want. If you're in a career that you've been in for a long time and you want to do something different, you can change it. You don't have to have the whole thing figured out. You just literally have to put one foot in front of the other every single day, one step at a time. That's all it took me. I know our brains tend to go into that whole thing of, how am I going to do this? And I've got to do this and da, 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 da. What I eventually learned is that it's just action. So at the start of every week, I would say, okay, I'm wanting to start this Real Nourish business. This is what I'm going to do this week. And it can be something really small. It can be look for a manufacturer. That was my one task for that 1 week. And so I set myself a goal that by the end of the week that I'd found out what that was. The next week might be read up about different website platforms and things like that. That may have been my next task on my next list. And all I did was put one foot in front of the other week after week after week until what I wanted eventually became a reality. And I promise you, that's all it takes. You do not have to have the whole thing figured out. You just have to have an idea. You have to have that goal in mind that you want to do, whatever it is, whether it's study or relationships or work or writing a book or whatever your thing is. Start there and just write down one thing. Write down one thing I'm going to do this week. And then next week, write down the next thing that you're going to do. And over time, you will find that that will have a compound effect and that you will get to your end goal. Please start. Please don't think you're ever stuck, because I'm sure there are some amazing things that you are totally capable of, that you are putting off, that you should just be starting. And starting today, starting soon. Get yourself a cute little notebook from Kmart or somewhere and just start writing this stuff down and start making yourself a plan and taking those little steps of action towards the goals that you want to achieve for yourself. Thank you so much for listening. I really love talking about this stuff. Like I said, obviously I'm in the health and the wellness and the weight loss space, but I do really enjoy talking about the business side and the entrepreneurial side. And because like weight loss and healthy eating is a personal development journey, being an entrepreneur and starting your own business is a personal development journey as well. So it's definitely something that I'm really passionate about sharing with you too. I hope you enjoyed listening. Like I said, you're never stuck, and please just go for it. And I'll see you all in our next episode of the Healthy Her podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the Healthy Her podcast. If you enjoyed today's chat and found it helpful, hitting that follow or subscribe button would be amazing, because your support means the world to me. Come connect with me on Instagram @theactivebod for your daily dose of inspiration and for loads of new easy meal ideas. Take care and keep thriving. See you next week.